Larry Bird might be the most disrespectful superstar the NBA has ever seen. Not because he talked the loudest, but because he backed up every single word. Today, we are reacting to 15 NBA legends who admitted they were terrified of Larry Bird. And if you think this is exaggerated, wait until you hear what some of the greatest players in history said about him. Just crazy. And was Larry Bird the most mentally intimidating player ever? I need you to lock in with how to skip as we get right into it.
But Larry Bird was cold. I don't think nobody ever could get out with him.
He talked trash against us, talked trash with against everyone else.
And I'm looking at this guy like, he's nuts, you know?
When you talk about NBA players that will put fear in other players, the first people that will come to your mind will be somebody like Jordan, Shaq, Kobe, or maybe Kevin Garnett. That is Larry Bird.
Larry Bird might honestly be the coldest trash talker in NBA history. And you know the crazy part is, he wasn't just talking, he was predicting the future on the courts, man. So, the question is Larry Bird the greatest trash talker in NBA history, or you think we got some newbies that might fit in the description?
Like the trash talking he was having with other players would just disrespect. So we will start with number 15, David Robinson, aka the Admiral, who left an indelible mark on the NBA with his extraordinary skills and contributions to the game. There is rarely any footage of David Robinson talking about Larry Bird, but there is an interview a year ago when someone asked him who was his favorite player to play against, and this is what he said.
And I know a lot of you young folks may not really remember Larry Bird that well, but that man was a magician. And yeah, no, he was amazing. And he was 6'9", and he had the skill set of a guard. He wasn't that fast. He wasn't that great of an athlete, but he had the heart of a lion.
Now, imagine what David had to say about him. You can hear the trauma and pain in his voice. But everyone who played against Larry Bird, despite being scared of him, they were excited. They played with a legend. Because it's not easy. I mean, having to play with someone who could have all these amazing capabilities and courts. You seeing someone that can predict the future with his mouth, and he's eventually going to back it up with his action. Bro, that was scary. That was scary as fuck.
And so playing against him was kind of my real first taste of, man, I want to do that. I want to compete against that every day. That's the kind of thing that's going to make you a monster. And there were a lot of great players. I mean, make no mistake, I've faced a lot of great players every day. But I think when I came into the league, Larry Bird was at his peak. And he was incredible at what he did. And he was humble, and he came to work every single day. And I admired that. And so I think he was my favorite to play against, particularly early in my career.
Number 14, we got
You see, look at the respect from David Robinson. He basically said playing Larry Bird made him want to get better. And that's when you know a player is truly special. Is Larry Bird the most skillful forward the NBA has ever seen?
Payton, one of the most well-known trash talkers in NBA history, who had intimidated many players in his career. But it is shocking how highly he speaks of Bird after all the battles that he went through against Jordan. He will still pick Larry Bird when it comes to getting into your head. This man was a trash-talking connoisseur, but the way Larry Bird was talking trash was something he never experienced.
And Larry Bird.
Gary Payton was one of the biggest trash talkers ever. And even he admitted Bird got into people's head. That tells you something. So, who wins in trash talk? Larry Bird or Michael Jordan?
Would shoot it anywhere. If you think about how many times he won a championship and what he was doing and what he was averaging, people don't understand that he was like, oh, he was slow. He wasn't, nah, he was just smart. You know what I'm saying? He was smart.
Yeah, he was smart.
He can get it done. He wasn't MVP all them times and all the All-Stars all them times for nothing.
I'm going to take you over to this corner. I'm going to dribble 2 times. I'm going to hit your ass in the face. And it bet not touch the rim. Wow. And then he said, if it do, I'm going to come right back and do it again until it touch it. That's how Larry Bird used to get at.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, Larry Bird was the coldest shit talker ever, man. And he bagged it up because he was so cold.
That's
you know
crazy.
what I'm saying? So people, ask people about him. Motherfucker used to tell you, boy, you can't do shit with me. I'm too motherfucking good for this.
Wow.
I'm going to give you a Christmas present. This jumper in your face. He used to always say this.
Bro, imagine talking about Larry Bird with excitement, man. This man is excited to talk about him because, you know, they're all speaking from experiences. He's not just talking because he heard about him or watched him play like me, but he's talking from experience because he played with him. And Gary was one of the biggest trash talkers at that time. He could get in your head as Larry did, but imagine a trash talker, one of the greatest, acknowledging another trash talker to be the greatest. Bro, that's some uneasy shit going on there.
Next, we got Dominique Wilkins, the human highlight film. He was a dominant force on the court, captivating audiences with his electrifying dunks and scoring prowess. He had a versatile offensive game, capable of scoring from various positions on the floor. In the 1980s, Wilkins and Larry Bird had a fierce rivalry. They had one of the most memorable playoff battles in NBA history. Dominique Wilkins shared his experience of what it was like going against Larry Bird as a rookie, and this was hilarious.
First time Bird ever talked trash to me. It was my rookie season, my first game I ever played against him. And so I go shake his hand, and he put both hands behind his back. And I'm saying, okay, he getting his head ready to play. And first play of the game, he says, I don't know where they got you guarding me, Holmes. And he shoots a three. Now, I wasn't upset he made the three. I said, but this son of a gun just called me Holmes.
Bro, this is wild. Bird shook his hand, they immediately started disrespecting him, and he dropped a three. That's psychological warfare. Damn, is Larry Bird the most confident player in NBA history? If yes, drop in the comment section. If no, drop in the comment section. But if you ask me, yes, Larry Bird was the best and the most confident player in NBA history ever.
I was pissed.
Of course you'd be pissed, man.
I wasn't mad he hit the three, but this some bitch just called me Holmes. And so it's set up for a really interesting game. Because I remember one time I came down and I dunked it on him. He laying on the ground. He fouled me, and I'm pointing. And he said, hey, Rook. I said, what? He said, what? He said, I like you. You got, he said, you got balls. But
balls of steel.
Gonna get 30 on your ass. He got about 38, but I had to pay my dues. I wasn't upset about that because, back then, as a rookie, you got to pay your dues. Simple as that.
Definitely.
He backed up whatever he said. If he tell you going to hit a shot to a certain place, or if he going to take you down to the post, turn around, hit a fadeaway J, he going to do just that, and ain't nothing you can do about it.
Joe Dumars, a Pistons legend who many called a Jordan stopper and a key member of the Detroit Pistons bad boys era. He holds deep respect for Larry Bird. The intense rivalry between the Pistons and the Boston Celtics during the late 1980s was marked by fierce competition and mutual admiration. You will see Joe Dumars explain how smart and tough Larry Bird was playing against like it was a chess match.
I said, but please, let's not forget how incredible Bird and the Celtics were in their prime. I said, they were almost impossible to go in there and beat. And they said, why? I said, because you could not make a mistake with them. If you turn your head or you don't rotate right on time or whatever it was, those guys made you play. And it was him. Like he was a savant on the court, just a savant, like 2 plays ahead on everything. And so I was just talking about this maybe 3 or 4 days ago, how hard it was to go into Boston.
Joe Dumas said it perfectly. Playing against Bird was like playing chess. He was always 2 moves ahead. You know the game of chess there. He was always 2 moves ahead. So, was Larry Bird the smartest player in NBA history? Because we all know chess involves smart people. You have to be smart to be able to play chess. If you ain't smart, bro, your opponent is going to smoke you. And Larry Bird was 2 moves ahead in the court against everyone. So we see he was playing chess. He saw basketball like chess, man. And that was actually tough. That was intense, bro. That was the sweetest thing ever about Larry Bird. He was not just a trash talk. He was confident. And for me, if you ask me, he's the smartest player in NBA history. I still need you to comment below what you think, if he is the smartest player or not.
And beat a team when Bird is in his prime.
Dennis Rodman, a Hall of Fame NBA player, renowned for his rebounding and defensive prowess, had so many battles against Bird when he was on the bad boy Pistons. And even though he said some crazy statements about Bird, like saying he wouldn't be able to play in today's NBA, he still had respect for Bird's game when going against him. He actually had a funny welcome to the league moment with Larry Bird in the playoffs. Check it out.
So, I think it was 86, 87. So we was playing Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals. So they gave me the task of guarding Larry Bird. So Gordon Larry Bird, I'm like this 25-year-old rookie in the league. They said, Dennis, you have to guard him. And I'm like, and you know what I'm saying, guard him. So that was my whole job, was to guard the toughest guy on the team, on the other teams. So, you know, so I'm guarding him. And every time I turn my head, he's over there in the three-point line. He said, I'm over here, Rook. I'm like, you know, I got to go out there and run out there like a dumbass. Let's go out there, try to contest him. He'll hit the three. I'm like, okay, da-da-da-da.
Damn, this story is hilarious, yes. Bert's literally telling Rodman, I'm over here before hitting the tree. That's disrespect on another level. It's a crazy form of disrespect. If it were me, I would just ask for timeout right there. I would go sit on the bench, man. Imagine being a rookie and your first thing is you're experiencing Larry Bird's disrespect. I mean, it's crazy, man. So would Larry Bird dominate in today's NBA? Comment below.
Next, we got two legends, Karl Malone and Isaiah Thomas, who played against Larry Bird for almost all of their career and had intense playoff matchups. They shared their stories of how Bird used to talk trash during clutch moments.
I remember sitting on the bench watching Kevin McHale and Larry Bird. And Larry Bird did something. To me, I'm still marveled at this. And he got so many people. It was a timeout. And one of our teammates, Bart Kofold, had a camera. Right. He's taking pictures. So Larry Bird came over there and looked at our bench. And he said, three-pointer from right over here. So I'm sitting over there looking like, that Babe Ruth, calling your shot already, right? Yeah. So Isaiah, I'm sitting there looking. He looked down at the floor. Hell, everybody looked down at the floor. He like he threw something. And he hit a three.
Calling the shot from the corner is crazy, bro. That's something you expect from Beirut. Not a basketball player. Is Larry Bird the most clutch player ever? If you think so, drop in the comments.
And I remember Kevin kind of looking over at the bench like this is going to be a long night.
We walk out on the court and he said, who guarded me? Larry's always called me Cheesy, right? He's like, Cheesy, who guarded me? And I was like,
What kind of name is that?
I got Kelly, I got Lamb, I got Benson. He's like, you ain't got no brothers? He's like you. He's like you.
Disrespecting me.
That's what he said.
Straight up.
That's exactly what he said. He said, hey, man, you can't put no white dude on me. That is straight disrespect, right? He said, don't put no white dude on me. So check this.
Why was that a disrespect from Larry's part, man? Larry's a white man. Or does he consider the strong dudes black? Because at this point, he say putting a white dude on Larry to guard him is disrespect. So I need to know if he saw them as weak or he saw it as disrespect truly, or it was a form of irony.
So the next year we come back, I said, I got somebody for your ass, right?
Yeah.
He said, who you got? I said, Robin. He said, okay, he's a little better. He said, but don't ever put no white dude on me because that is disrespectful. I was like, okay.
Patrick Ewing, a New York Knicks legend and one of the best centers of all time, is close friends with Larry Bird and has voiced admiration for Bird's skills, basketball knowledge, and leadership on multiple occasions. And he told people that Larry Bird's trash talking was the real deal.
He talked trash against us, talked trash with against everyone else. But you know, the difference is he could back it up. He could back it up. You know, I remember, you know, like I was saying, growing up in Boston, people all used to always talking about that he can't jump, he can't do this, he can't do that. And, you know, a lot of my friends was like that, you know. So, I got to the league. I called all my friends back up. I said, you know, all that trash that you were talking, you need to squash all that.
People used to say Bird couldn't jump, but he was destroying everybody anyway. You know, skill and IQ beat athleticism in Larry's case. Would Bird average 30-plus points in today's NBA? You think so?
This man is great. He can, whatever you were saying for a man who can't jump, he's demolishing everybody.
Here are three legends, Dr. J, Kevin McHale, and Bill
Walton.
Walton, explaining Bird's impact on the game and his mindset when playing. Pay attention to McHale's story especially, because it shows what Bird will do when the game is on the line and he's not having the best night.
You know, this guy, I think he was born to play basketball. Seeing him come in and making the adjustment early, taking a team that had won 20 games the year before, and you know, the next year, I mean, you know, they're 40 plus, and the next year they're 60 plus.
Nothing bothered him. Unbelievable competitor, great hands, great vision, great feel for the game, and just, you know, could go out every single night and just play at an unbelievably high level. Didn't have to shoot the ball really well to have a good game because he did so many different things.
I'm out, I'm inbounding the ball. Larry, we're walking. We drop a play. We're walking out there. Larry says, "I'm gonna shoot a three. I'm gonna win it right here." I'm like,
You know, McHale literally said Bird told the bench he was about to hit game winner. Then he did it. And you know that's straight movie stuff, man. Is Larry Bird the greatest competitor in NBA history? Because the man loves competition, man. He loves someone that could actually meet up to him. He needed a worthy opponent, and we'll get down to who his worthy opponent was.
Larry, no. I just make it two. We're just going to overtime. I'm thinking, my God, you haven't made a shot all game long. Don't do that now. So we walk over there, and Larry walks by the bench, and he tells the Phoenix bench, he said, "Nah, I'm fixing to jump out here, bust this play, and knock a three down on you and go home." And the bench looks at him and stuff. So Larry busts the play, jumps out, gets the ball on, kind of in front of their bench's three-point line, shoots it. As he lets it go, he looks at the bench and said, "Told you so," and starts running to the locker room.
Yeah.
The ball rips through. We win by one.
That's straight up movie stuff.
The bench coaches have this. El Bianchi's got this look on his face like honestly, like he's seen a ghost. He's just sitting there. And I walk by and I go, "Does it all the time." And El Bianchi just shakes his head. But that was classic Larry. A will to win, unbelievable amount of confidence. But the best thing was he had no idea what I was thinking in my mind. Like, am I really going to throw it to him? He hasn't made a shot all the fourth quarter. But he ran in, and by the time I got in there, he had already popped a beer. He had a beer in his hand. He was laughing. And I just walked up to him, gave him a hug, and said, "Man, you are something."
Nobody worked as hard as Larry. He was the first guy there. He was the last guy to leave. He wore that body out with the jumpers and the running and the movement and the concentration and the focus and the discipline and the sacrifice. He had it all. He wanted the light on him. He wanted the focus, and he wanted that ball. And if it ever got to the point where Casey Jones, a coach who we just loved and would do anything for.
See, Larry wanted the spotlight on him. It's not in a bad way, it's in a good way, because whenever he's on the court, he just want to play. He just came to play, and that's all. He don't care whatever you want to do. And I would say Larry was not so friendly. Yeah. He didn't keep any too close relationship with any of his teammates. But I think he later became close. Was it with Magic Johnson? But Larry was a good player, and he was a competitive player. Competitive and confident that always backed up his trash talk with action.
If Casey would ever call somebody else's play, Larry would just say, no. I'm shooting this ball, and he would.
2 seconds on the shot clock. Bird wants a three out of it.
Next, we have two NBA legends who are in my top 5 of all time, Magic Johnson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. They both said Larry Bird was the best guy they played against. And listen to how they describe Bird's game. You can tell that it was war when getting ready to play against that man. And you had to be on your A game at all times.
The best guy I played against might have been, Larry Bird. Someone like that.
How good was
Michael
Bird?
Jordan.
I don't think people look at him and think, he's a white guy,
he's
slow guy.
He's a chubby white guy. He wore us out, man. Because this muscle here, the one between his ears.
Yeah.
That was his best, because he made the 3-pointers and he had assists and rebounded, steals. He was always at the right place at the right time.
Magic and Bird might be the greatest rivalry in basketball history. They pushed each other to another level. Who was better, Magic Johnson or Larry Bird? I need to know.
on the court, one of the great players, I had the opportunity to play against.
There's nobody that I ever played against that I
There we
love
go.
and respected more than Larry Bird. The man, listen, you couldn't give him an inch or he would just shoot it right in your face. He was dominant at both ends of the court. And so Larry Bird made me a better player, and I think I made him a better player. And together, we made the NBA better.
And now we have the last two legends on this list, John Stockton and Charles Barkley. They both shared hilarious trash-talking stories when they went against Bird. And you get to see Charles explain what exactly made NBA players fear him in a game.
He's the only guy that came into Utah when I was a young player and said, I think I'm going to have 43 tonight. Told our whole team that on the bench, and he came in and had 43 tonight. So I don't know. I have to give the nod to Larry at this one.
Yo, Bird telling the whole team he's about to drop 43 points and actually doing it. That's legendary confidence. Yes, is Larry Bird the most mentally tough player ever?
Don't feel bad because I was the tiebreaker on the poll question, and I picked Larry Legend as well. So I'm with the same company. So
Bird talk trash to everybody.
But did he get to a point where he had respect for you?
I always tell this story about Larry Bird. I remember him.
It's Charles Barkley.
Cursing under his breath, and I asked him, I said, Larry, what's going on with you? He says, you guys are being disrespectful to me. And I says, what are you talking about? He says, you guys are putting a white guy on me. That's disrespectful.
Wait, who's the white guy you put on him?
I can't remember who it was. I just started laughing. I had no comeback. When he says, it's disrespectful when y'all put a white guy on me. And I'm sitting there like, I'm laughing in the middle of a game.
Like, Larry beat you with his will and his mind. But he didn't have the athletic ability that Kobe and Michael and LeBron and those guys had.
Yeah.
Larry willed himself and his team to win.
So you see, after hearing all the stories from NBA legends, one thing is clear. Larry Bird didn't just beat players with athleticism. He beat them with confidence, intelligence, and pure competitive fire. And honestly, the fact that so many legends still talk about him, like, this tells you everything, right? But I want to know what you think. Let me know in the comments. Is Larry Bird a top 5 player in NBA history, or does he even belong higher?